In alhamdulillah wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulullah. Welcome to our Aqidah class. And for this class, we are focusing in on allegiance. Allegiance to Allah. And what does that entail? And how to develop that allegiance. And again, guys, I want you all to remember that it all begins with seeking knowledge. The correct knowledge of this religion, the way to develop love and allegiance to Allah, love and allegiance to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and love and allegiance to each other is by first of all learning this religion. And I want every Muslim listening to me to understand that seeking knowledge of this religion is an obligation. It's an obligation upon each and every one of us. Once you convert to Islam, that's just the beginning. Now you have to spend the rest of your life learning what it means to believe in Allah and how to worship Him alone. And that belief entails having allegiance to Him, the Prophet, and to each other. And we've been speaking about how the only way that we can effectively develop love and allegiance for each other is if we can train ourselves to only love the things that Allah loves and to only hate the things that Allah hates. We have to set aside our personal likes, our personal dislikes, and this is how we become better practicing Muslims. Just because you like something doesn't mean that it's good for you. Just because you hate something doesn't mean that it's bad for you. For example, I don't like being cold. It's cold right now where I am. I'm freezing sitting here. That's why I have my hood on. I'm cold, subhanallah. But just because I don't like the cold doesn't mean that the cold is bad. The cold brings about a lot of good. Cold kills germs. Yes, it does. That's why hospitals and nursing homes and healthcare facilities keep it cold, because if it's cold, that makes it harder for a bacteria or a germ, to grow and multiply. So as Allah Himself says in the Quran, perhaps you hate something that through it I bring about good. So again, it's all about us conditioning ourselves and training ourselves to only hate the things Allah hates. And Allah tells us the things that He hates are the things He made haram. And we learned that in another class. So Allah says He only hates the things that He made haram. So we should hate those haram things. And He tells us that the things He made lawful are things that He likes, and they're good and clean. Divorce, good and clean. Polygamy, good and clean. Okay? So we have to condition ourselves to like the things that Allah likes. Everybody understand that. And if we can master that, that's how we can deal with each other and interact with each other without forming personal opinions about a person that may or may not be true based on our likes and dislikes. Because we're supposed to live together as one nation, as one unit, looking at each other, seeing the good in each other, loving each other because we see the things that Allah loves in each and every one of us. And that's what this chapter, we're studying from the book, Diluting, Bara, which is composed by Kareem Abu Zaid. You can purchase this book on Amazon, $19.99. It should be a part of every Muslim's library. We are studying chapter 10. And in chapter 10, this chapter speaks about the hardest allegiance for us as Muslims to develop, and that is allegiance to each other. I want y'all to remember the hadith and reflect upon it. The hadith where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that he made a dua asking Allah, for three things. One of the things he asked Allah is, "Oh Allah, do not allow my nation, my people, to be destroyed by their enemies." And this is a hadith we really need to reflect upon today, because look what's happening right now as we're speaking. We have Muslims that's living overseas in that Israel area, the Palestinian area. Look at what's going on. They have war. Palestine, Israel, they're warring right now. Yes, it's the qadr of Allah. We knew this is going to happen. I mean, it's been happening since before Moses. It's going to continue to happen. I did the series on the signs of the last hour. We already know that the next greater sign that we're waiting on to happen is the war against Islam. It's when 80 countries, which are the United Nations, when they will, somebody turn off their camera. Please, can somebody turn the video off? The United Nations, those 80 countries representing the United Nations will declare war against Islam. And how will they declare war against Islam? They will take a vote. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was detailed. They will take a vote declaring war against all Muslim countries, because those Muslim countries will support what's happening right there now. They will support the Muslims in Palestine. So this is getting ready to happen. Y'all see it. This could be it. Okay, this could be the beginning of this greater sign. And when that happens, everything's getting ready to change. So prepare yourself. Only the strong will survive. Allah says in the Quran that he sends war as a means of cleansing the earth of corrupt leaders, corrupt people. And he sends war as a means of deciphering who the true believers are from the true hypocrites. And you all know there's a lot of hypocrites amongst us. Most Muslims today are not practicing Islam. Even the speakers, the famous personalities who claim to be scholars, they're really not scholars. They're out for their own interests. Allah has been exposing them year after year after year for the corruption that they're involved in, from rape to murder and all other kind of crazy stuff. So you can see the writing on the wall. Okay. So if this is the beginning of that next greater sign, only the strong are going to survive. And what we have to do to get through it is to work on developing our allegiance to each other, the true believers. This is going to be Allah's test to see who the true believers are. Are you going to stand with your people, or are you going to falter to the side? And by the way, when that war occurs, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam went into detail. He said there will be no part of this planet, there will be no country, no place on this planet that will not experience the horrific effects of this war. So living in America, you'll be bombed up too. Y'all take a look at what's going on over there in Israel. Those same rockets and stuff will be happening here, be happening in Saudi. They'll be happening everywhere. This will be the World War III that everyone has dreaded. And the prophet said there'll be suffering and death. Not one part of this earth will not be experiencing. So this could be it. Allah knows best. This could be the beginning. So this is why we need to work on developing our aqidah. assuring that our belief system is intact. Because the prophet said that when that happens, when that war against all Muslim lands happens, the only thing that the believers will have to get them through it is their faith. And most of us don't have the faith. Most of us, we don't even know how to make dua for ourselves. Most of us, when we get sick, what do? We call other people and say, can you do ruqyah for me? Can you do ruqyah for me? Can you read Quran for me? Those who are strong in their faith don't ask people to read Quran for them. Those who are strongest in their faith read Quran for themselves. Remember, who are those 75,000 that will enter paradise without being held accountable? They are those whose faith was so strong they never did ruqyah. I never do ruqyah. You'll never see Layla asking nobody to read Quran for her. Okay, I read Quran for myself if I have the need to do so. So we're weak. That's one example. Look how many of us are running around asking people to pray for us. Oh, I'm going through problems in life. Oh, my life is overwhelming. Can you make dua for me? Make dua for me. Make dua for me. We can't even pray for ourselves. So how are you going to be able to handle that war when those rockets, those bombs go off right here in America? You overwhelmed because you don't have a husband. You're overwhelmed because your child is sick. You're overwhelmed because you couldn't get a job. You're going to be overwhelmed when you look out that window and see rockets and buildings blowing up, people dying all around you. How are you going to handle that? What you going to do? Get on the phone and call and say, make dua for me. Get on the internet and ask people to pray for you. Those 75,000 that will enter paradise without being held accountable, they never asked nobody to pray for them other than the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he was with them. They prayed for themselves. So we're weak. We're weak. We Muslims are so weak in our aqidah. So if this is the beginning of what will lead to the tragic end of us, we need to take each day, as Ibn Umar said, as Ibn Umar radiallahu anha said, and don't expect to live to see, if you live in the morning, don't expect to live to see the evening. And if you live to see the evening, don't expect to live to see the morning. Because if we looked at it like that each day on this earth could be our last, then we would do the deeds that are pleasing to Allah. We'd make sure that our aqidah, our belief system is correct. We'd be learning how to make dua for ourselves. We'll be learning how to accept the qadr of Allah. So wake up, Muslims. This could be it. I don't know. It happens all the time. But one of these days, all it's going to take is Saudi Arabia. That's the leader. Like the prophet said, where I come from. The ones who look like me, that speak my language, come from my city. They will be the ones to determine. That's Saudi. All it's going to take is Saudi Arabia saying, okay, we've had enough, Israel. We're going to support Hamas. And then the Emirates will join in. Then Kuwait, all the Gulf area will join in. Bahrain, all the Gulf Arabic countries will follow the lead. And then Africa, North Africa will join in. And then the Bantu nations, Somalia and all those other African Muslim countries, Ghana and all of them are joining in. And there's your war against Islam. All the Muslim countries standing together to support. And that's it. This could be it. Okay? So we have to wake up, guys. Take this religion seriously. We have to put aside all this hatred, jealousy, animosity that we have against each other. We have to stop being duped by the good speakers, by the ruwaybida. And we need to gravitate our behinds to the true people of the Sunnah, the people who are teaching the true Islam. And what is the true Islam? The true Islam is the traditional Islam, not progressive. And how can you recognize what the traditional Islam is? As the prophet said, they will stay upon what I came with. They will practice this religion the way you, my companions, practice it. They will stick with what you guys did and what the four leaders, the four, and it stops there. What those four leaders did after me, and leave all those other people alone. So it's time to wake up. It's time for y'all to take life serious, because this could be the beginning of what leads to the end. You never know. The prophet said it'll all begin there. All the call got to come from is Saudi. All them Arabic countries in the Gulf going to do whatever Saudi say. It'll trickle over to North Africa. Trickle down to Ghana, Somalia, and all them other Muslim African countries. You know, they all follow what the Arabs do. Just like with Ramadan. Whatever Saudi do, they do. The prophet said that would happen. Wake up. So, this chapter is focusing on things we can do to develop allegiance with each other, because that's the hard thing. And again, the only way we can do it is by learning to love everything Allah loves, hate only what He hates. And that's what loving for the sake of Allah means. Put aside your personal dislikes. Put aside your personal opinions and stick with Quran wa Sunnah. If Allah didn't say it's haram, it ain't haram. So that's the end of that. Move to the next thing. Get over your hate for colors. Get over your hatred, about whatever. If Allah said it is haram, it is. That's it. Keep it moving. Allah said you're supposed to grow a beard. Grow your beard. Keep it moving. And so let's put the PowerPoint up on the screen, because in this chapter, where's my PowerPoint? Oh, wait a minute, guys. Oh, here it is. Okay, I got a new computer and I can't find anything on it. Whew, like a new house. You got to find your stuff. All right. And so in this chapter, we're going to speak about, for this session, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me put it up. Wait a minute. The power of loving for the sake of Allah. That's what he goes, Sheikh Kareem Abu Zayd goes into detail in this section of this chapter, speaking about how loving for the sake of Allah, it strengthens us. And that's why it's so important to do this, to condition yourself to only hate what Allah hates and to only love what Allah loves. Take the personal crap out of it. So let's look to see. In our world, where distances separate us and differences threaten to divide us, the persistent love and allegiance becomes a beacon that will strengthen us, especially now. We see what's going on. We see this war beginning against Islam. Love and allegiance is what binds hearts across time and distance. And Allah speaks about this and emphasizes this in the Quran. Listen to what Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning. The believers are nothing but brothers to each other. What does that mean? Well, this verse, Allah is encouraging us to love each other and to understand that the simple fact that we believe the same thing, that we all believe La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, that means that our life, our honor and property is sacred with each other. And because they're sacred to with each other, this brings us together and we support each other. We have to work on developing compassion for each other and support for each other. It should bother you when you turn on the news, guys, and you see what's going on over there in Israel. And you know me, I'm always preaching about how you can't change it, which we can't. This is the qadar of Allah. Like I said, this is the beginning. This could be the beginning of what leads to the end. We have to accept it. The prophet told us this would happen. He told us what would happen. We know the next thing will be if Saudi joins in and supports Hamas, then all those other Muslim countries will join in and support. We know that means that's it. The next thing will be those 80 United Nations countries declaring war against all Muslim states. Okay? The only way we can get through this is by supporting each other, having compassion for each other. So it should bother you to see what's going on over there. Okay? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught the companions how to set aside their personal differences and their personal likes and dislikes and look to see the good in each other and have compassion for each other and help to the best of your ability. This is what caused Islam to spread across the world. Okay? So it's time to set aside differences, guys. It's time to stop the political jargon. It's time to stop arguing and debating Islam with Christians, which is a waste of time anyway. It's time to stop all that. And instead, how can we develop this allegiance with each other? We have to reinforce the true meaning of Islam. Total submission to Allah. We have to reinforce the true meaning of al-wala wal-bara. That's the only way we're going to get through this stuff. Okay? Because when those countries declare their war against Islam, they don't care. All Muslims will be the enemy. Even those of us in America. They won't trust any of us. They'll be coming after all of us. Just like now. Let a Muslim commit a crime. His religion is broadcast all over social media. But most crimes are committed by Christians and people don't mention their religion. So again, we have to have that wala, that allegiance with each other to get through it. That compassion, that support, that love and loyalty for each other. Okay? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in an authentic hadith, the example of the believers and their affection and compassion for each other is like that of a body. When any part of the body hurts, the rest of the body feels it. Just like now, I feel what's going on over there. You know, I feel for those Muslims that's living in Israel that are enduring this stuff. You know, I feel for them, but I feel for them in the right way of balance, I'm not one of those crazy Muslims, and I say Muslims, who feel for them to the point where I'm going to go on Facebook, I'm going to go on YouTube and start cursing Israel, start cursing the Kafirs, blow up, bomb this. No, I feel for the believers in a way of balance, where I want them to be able to handle their trials, where I want them to be reminded that Allah doesn't put a burden on us that we can't handle. You can handle it. Just man up, woman up, stay strong, and deal with it. And I'll support you through my supplications. I'll support you because that's the only way I can. I'm here. I'll support you not only through my supplications, but I'll support you through my reminders by trying to keep the Muslims here balanced, letting them know that this is not the time to get emotional and become exaggerated and out of balance, where you end up transgressing the limits of Allah, making it worse for all of us. That's how I'm supporting my brothers and sisters over there who are going through this trying time. That's how I'm supporting my family of Ifti's family that's over there, my sister-in-law's family that's over there. Okay, I'm not going to be posting up dead bodies to ignite ignorance and anger. I'm going to support them by saying, oh Allah, give the believers the ability and the strength to handle whatever you have decreed for them. And oh Allah, should any of them die, let them die upon Siratul Mustaqim. That's my dua for them. And in the meantime, my lectures here in America will be, you other Muslims, calm down. Calm down. Remember, the stronger your faith, the greater your test. Those Muslims over there, the ones that are practicing, that are sincere, their faith is much stronger than yours. That's why they handling it. So you calm down, get in line, be balanced, and work on your belief system. Make sure that should this turn into the beginning of what could be or lead to the end, that you be on the right side of the tracks. Because the Prophet also said when this jumps off, most Muslims on earth will be on the wrong side of the tracks, to the point that when the Mahdi comes and brings the peace back, most of you Muslims will be with the Antichrist. SubhanAllah. Okay? So that's what this means when the Prophet said that the believers are like one body. One of us hurts, we all feel it. But we don't feel it where we go and transgress the limits. We have to be calm, maintain dignity, maintain humility, and balance. And remember, the Prophet ﷺ said the biggest weapon, the greatest weapon that the Muslim has against shaitan is each other, our al-wala. Because we pray for each other. And we advise each other. And just like I'm reminding you of balance, that reminder, that's our weapon. Okay? Also, let me put it to PowerPoint, I'm sorry. Also, when you love for the sake of Allah, and for his sake only, you can't help but train your heart to do what's right. Because everything we do it because we're conscious that Allah is watching us. Allah is grading us. Allah is ranking us and rating us. So because our hearts are filled with love for what Allah loves and not that personal stuff, your hearts are lifted. And that's how you become inspired to act in accordance to what's pleasing to Allah. And you would do the things that Allah commands us to do to unite each other and become one. Listen to what Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning. But those who believe, it is only those who believe who love Allah more than anything else. So again, the simple fact that Allah commands me to have sympathy and empathy whenever I know that another Muslim is going through a hardship, I'm going to have it. I'm going to put aside my personal dislike, my personal anything, and I'm going to have compassion for them. The simple fact that Allah speaks about the power of supplication. As Dr. Ibrahim Ramali says, dua is the weapon of mass construction. So I'm going to make dua. I'm going to encourage my students to make dua, asking Allah, to help the Muslims, to give them the strength to accept whatever he decreed for them, because he don't put a burden on them that they can't bear anyway. They can handle it. They don't need your sympathy. That's the difference. Empathy and sympathy. Empathy and sympathy are two different things. Empathy is when you can put yourself in the shoes of another person. Sympathy is when you feel sorry for them. What you feeling sorry for? Those believers over there in Palestine will tell you, we don't need your sympathy. We can handle it. All we need is your dua, your empathy. Okay? And that's what we need to work on here as Muslims, being more empathetic. Allah loves for us to have compassion and empathy for each other, not sympathy. Sympathy causes you to transgress the limits. You get the feeling sorry for a person or sorry for a situation based on your likes and your dislikes, and that's how you transgress. You'll go blow up a building. You'll go kill all Jews. You'll go and burn flags. You'll go and do pickets and riots and tear down. We're going to burn it down, all that dumb stuff. That's what sympathy does. Because sympathy is based on what you like and what you dislike. But empathy means you're going to put yourself in that person's shoes and do what Allah said do. Like what Allah said to like. Dislike only what Allah dislikes. Y'all see the difference? Okay? So those who believe, they love Allah more than anything else. And they put themselves in the shoes of others and empathize, not sympathize. Okay? Also, this is what leads to love, guys. When you can empathize for a person, this is how you develop love for that person. When you can put yourself in the shoes of a situation, that's how you develop respect for that situation. And this is what leads to al-wala in Islam, amongst the Muslims. This is how the companions develop that allegiance with each other, because they weren't sympathizing anymore. Different Arab tribes were feeling sorry for the Quraysh. That's why they fought against the Prophet and the companions. But when they were able to put themselves in the shoes of the Prophet Muhammad and saw what he was enduring and what he and his companions were dealing with, that's when they said, oh no, we join in with you. And that's what's going to happen here. When that war when that war actually happens, when the United Nations, if it should happen now, and they declare war against Islam, the all Muslim countries, oh yeah, that war is going to be horrific. It's going to go on for years, for a few years. And like the prophet said, not no place on this planet will not taste it. But it'll stop when the Mahdi comes. When the Mahdi arises, and how will he bring the peace? The Mahdi will bring the peace because he will be able to get the United Nations to empathize with the Muslims. See how empathy brings unity, not sympathy. He will be the one, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, who will speak to the Christians, those Christian countries. He will address them and tell them what's really happening with the Muslims and what Israel did. And when those Christian countries hear the truth, what did the prophet say they will do? They will, due to their empathy of putting themselves in the shoes of those Muslims, they will look and see, oh my God, Israel, you've deceived us. You are the one that started this. That's when those other 80 nations, Christian nations, will see that they were deceived by the Israels. And that's when they will join forces with the Muslims and defeat them. And that's when Jesus comes. And that's a different story. But it's about empathizing with each other. Too many of us sympathize. We got to stop feeling sorry for people. Those Muslims over there in Palestine don't need your pity. They'll tell you, take your pity on somewhere. They need your empathy and your compassion, your supplications. Everybody understand that? We have a hadith where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, you will never enter paradise until you believe in Allah. And you will never believe in Allah until you learn to love each other. And this is when he gave us suggestions of things we can do, as we talked about yesterday, that can help us to learn to love each other. For example, spreading the greeting of assalamu alaikum amongst yourselves. This is a big one. We've deviated away from that. Muslims don't say assalamu alaikum. You go to the grocery store, you see another Muslim, assalamu alaikum, they run. You go to a restaurant, a Muslim woman is standing there getting ready to serve you. You say assalamu alaikum, she don't answer you. We have, our supplication is our greeting is a supplication of peace. We've deviated away. We've deviated away from sending peace to each other. That's why we have no allegiance. That's why we're not unified. We need to get back to giving salams to each other. We need to get back to being proud to say, you see a sister in a grocery store and 2 hours over, assalamu alaikum, you yell it out. Assalamu alaikum, my sister. She look at you, wa alaikum salam. Hello. That's making a statement. We're together. We're together. We're one. We're in unity. We're united. We all about the same thing. There's a lot of power in that. Everybody else in the grocery store look and be like, wow, they'll be amazed. Two beautiful women, different parts of the world, Arabic, non-Arabic. Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam. Hello, we in support. And when by unifying ourselves, look at the ramifications. We're also showing unity to Palestine. Because everybody else knows what's going on in the world. The Christians do have the numbers over us. The Christians do have the power over us, like the prophet said they would. But look at us. We're showing support just by assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam. Wow, they Muslims. Did you hear what's going on? Oh, yeah, I think it's kind of sad. They blew up a building and there were children there. That's how you get empathy from the non-Muslims. When they see that your behavior is good, you're polite, you're mannerable, you look beautiful in appearance, you're beautiful in behavior. And when you see another Muslim, even though they at the back of the store, salam alaikum, wa alaikum salam, hello, them people ain't all that bad. Then that's when the Kafirs will say, wow, I like that. They're the same. And it's a shame how those children died in that bombing. I think that the government, I think America, or I think Israel could have figured out something different than blowing that building up. With all the technology, they didn't have to kill those people. That's how we do it. You put people in your shoes. And we're showing solidarity to the Muslims over there just by returning the greeting of assalamu alaikum. Y'all see why I was a union leader? I was a union leader. I used to lead a lot of marches, man. America here. Woo! I was one of the largest unions in Ohio. I was bad, man. All right. So simply by spreading the greeting of peace, not only does it bring you and I together, but it also shows our allegiance to those Muslims that may be suffering in other parts of the world too. It'll cause the onlookers to empathize with us, not sympathize, empathize with us. Remember, guys, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said in another hadith, none of you will truly be a believer until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. What does that hadith mean? That hadith means that you love for your brother what you love for yourself. That's talking about behavior. That's not talking about money. That's talking about behavior. You don't want anybody to forget about you. You don't want anyone to turn their back on you. You don't want anyone to mistreat you. So don't mistreat others. You want people to empathize for you and help you. So why don't you help others? So this is what Islam is about, wanting for your brother what you want for yourself. If I were living in Israel right now, I would want Muslims to pray for me because I'm strong in my iman. I know that whatever Allah give me, I can handle. So I'll make even though I have anxiety, I would force myself to accept that this is Allah's qadr and I can deal with it. I'm going to stay rational. I'm going to deal. But I would want the Muslims in America and other parts of the world to pray for me, because I know the power of supplication too. So that's why I'm praying for them. So that's what that means. Love for your brother what you would love for yourself. Want for your brother what you want for yourself. I don't want nobody blowing up buildings, because I knew if they blew up buildings and killed innocent civilians, it's going to make it harder for me. I know that Israel is going to come down on me and come down on mine. They'll just blow up some more children. So I don't want to transgress the limits of Allah. So I'm not going to transgress limits of Allah with you. That's what this hadith means. Okay? Also, again, it all begins with spreading the greeting. The Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that if we would spread the greeting of assalamu alaikum between each other, that would help us to love for your brother what you love for yourself. Again, we deviated away from that greeting. We got to get back to giving salams to the Muslims that we see on the street. We got to get back to showing solidarity with each other. When I walk into a restaurant and you see I'm Muslim and you Muslim, we're going to greet each other. We're going to hug each other if we're the same sex. If you a sister, I'm going to shake your hand, because shaking hands when we give the greeting erases our sins. Did you know that? So if I walk into a Starbucks and I'm gonna see another, I'm gonna go right to her. Assalamu alaikum, my sister. Wa alaikum salam, and shake hands. Solidarity. Everybody looking like, oh wow, they're those people. Did you see what happened? I think it's cruel how they did that lady on TV. You know, the power of the greeting, the power of dawah through your actions. Solidarity. Solidarity always leads to empathy. As an ex-union president, as an ex-union activist, I know, because I sat on a lot of negotiating teams and arbitrations. When they see solidarity, that's when they empathize and give in. Subhanallah. Also, in Islam, the love exhibited for pleasing Allah is held in the highest regard because that's what symbolizes our allegiance. So again, it's all about changing your heart, putting that personal stuff aside and just conditioning yourself, you know, that it's all about what Allah likes. It's all about what Allah dislikes, not me. I don't care that that brother over there is from Africa. I don't care that that sister over there is African. She's my sister in Islam. So I'm going to put all that other crap aside and go and give her salams. We in the grocery store. I don't care that she's from Pakistan. I'm going to walk up to her. Assalamu alaikum, my sister. How are you? And shake her hand. Good to see you. Put all that personal hatred and racism and crap away. Remember, guys, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever can train himself to love for the sake of Allah and to hate for the sake of Allah and to give for the sake of Allah and to withhold for the sake of Allah, this is the person who has the perfect belief system. So I'm going to bypass the fact that that sister's from Africa, that sister's from Pakistan, and I'm going to love them, salam them, greet them because they my sister in Islam. Okay? Also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah will ask on the day of judgment, where are those who loved each other for my sake? Because on this day, there will be no shade except mine, and I will put them under my shade. That's a big thing. Remember, it's the human nature to be criminal. We're criminal by nature. So that jealousy and racism, that's part of our soul. The soul is criminal by nature. We got to overcome all that hatred and personal dislike and love the fact that I don't care if she came from out of Africa. She's my sister. So I'm going to shake her hand. I'm going to greet her. We're the same. We both believe La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. I could care less about the color of her skin. She's my sister. Those are the people that will be under the shade of Allah. Okay? So, again, guys, we're going through some terrible times right now. This could, like I say, Allah knows best, because it ain't the first time this happened. This one could be the beginning of what leads to what could be the end. Allah knows best. But now is the time for all of us, Muslims around the world, to come together, put aside that personal hate, personal jealousy, personal. Train ourselves to love only what Allah loves and hate only what Allah hates. Come together, show solidarity with each other. Show strength and solidarity with each other. And that way we're supporting those that's over there fighting for their lives. And also the power of dua. The power of supplication. That's the weapon of mass construction. Make dua for each other. All right. I'm going to stop right now. But before we end this class, I have a quiz just to see how many of you were paying attention to me. Okay. Let's look at the quiz. Y'all get ready for it. Get on the microphone. Get ready to answer these questions. First question. Allah says in the Quran that the believers are brothers unto each other. What are some things that we can do to become more like brothers and sisters in Islam? What are some things that we can do now to take on the appearance of being in solidarity and brothers and sisters in Islam? Come on, guys. A lot of answers you could give.
The number one thing that you just finished speaking about that I have the hardest time with understanding why I don't get this greeting back is giving the greeting. Assalamu alaikum.
Right, exactly. That's the number one thing. The number one thing, and the Prophet emphasized it. It shows solidarity. Okay? We can greet each other. When you see another Muslim on the street, in the grocery store, at the bank, at the restaurant, Assalamu alaikum, my sister. I would yell it out for me because I know the power of solidarity being a union activist. I'll yell it out and I'll go up to her and shake her hand so everybody can see. We're in solidarity. We're the same. We're united. We're one. And by us being one, we're showing that we're one with those Muslims over there in Israel. Okay? Good job. What's another thing that we can do, guys, to show that we are brothers and sisters in Islam?
And to add to what Effie says, it makes you feel so good when you look at them and their faces, not in a smile. You give them that greeting and a smile comes on their face. It's like they're worried about something, but once you give that greeting, that smile comes on, and that makes me feel so good because my smile is going to be there.
Exactly. Good job. Good job. Anybody else? What's something else we can do to make us
be able to emphasize, put yourself in the other person's place?
Exactly. Stop feeling sorry. Stop the pity party. The Prophet said our destruction will come from our pity, our we feel sorry for ourselves. That's why the Christians will always have the upper hand over us. They don't sit around feeling sorry. They make changes. They take people out. If they got a bad ruler, they take them out. Okay? Stop feeling sorry for yourself and instead put yourself in the shoes of that other person and ask, what would you do? What would Allah have you do? Okay, that leads to solidarity too. Okay, what else? Anybody else?
Put the pride and arrogance aside and start helping each other, physically help each other.
Exactly, guys. We got to learn how to help one another. You see a brother struggling at the mosque, a sister struggling, pitch your hand in, volunteer to help. I'll take your kids for a weekend. I'll keep the kids for the weekend so you can go take a break. Okay. I'll keep the kids for 2 hours so you can take a break. You see a brother struggling, working to take care of his family. Hey, Aki, I came into a little extra money. Here's a couple of $100. Maybe you can buy the kids something or spend some time at home with the kids or something. Help one another.
Yeah.
What else?
I also find that Muslims don't understand what backbiting really is. And you can start talking with a Muslim sister and all of a sudden she begins to backbite another sister. You've got to stop that because Allah tells us in the Quran, would you like to eat the flesh of your dead brother? No, you would avoid. So fear Allah, for Allah is merciful. Allah is the one. So I find that I have to do that a lot because a lot of the sisters I talk to, all of a sudden they just start backbiting and they don't realize they're backbiting. Oh, I'm not back. Yes, you
exactly.
are. To yourself.
Stop being so quick to critique each other. Stop being so quick to put another Muslim down and instead empathize with that Muslim. Be a support for that sister. We got to watch our tongues, watch our action, balance. Get rid of that personal stuff. Balance. Any other suggestions? Oh, let me look on YouTube. I forgot I'm on YouTube too. Wait a minute.
Another thing, which is
what I was thinking about that was just said a little while ago is that we do have to start want for your brother and sister what you would want for yourself. It's more than words. It goes deeper than that. It goes like sisters, that sister over there is by herself and she got about 6 or 7 children that are hungry. What can I do to make her day just a little bit brighter? Just a little bit.
Exactly.
Maybe I could walk and knock on her door and say, I just baked this bread. Could you tell me how it tastes? Because I just want to make sure that it's right, that I did the right thing. And I have seen their eyes light up because they were so hungry and their children were hungry and they felt so good. They felt so good that somebody, especially another Muslim, cared enough about them to offer to help them.
Exactly. Sister Amina, asking somebody to pray for you because you got a problem is not the same as a person making dua for all the believers on earth. Do you understand? You need to learn how to make your own dua. Do you understand? You're caught up on your personal stuff. This is what allegiance, you got to set aside personal. You want people to make personal duas for you because you don't want to pray for yourself. We don't do that. You make your own dua, your own supplication for you, because only you know what your problem is. We're talking about making dua for the Muslims who are being tested. That's a general supplication. You're asking for personal supplications. The companions didn't make personal supplications. They made their own supplications. They didn't go around asking people to pray for them, pray over them, do ruqyah over them. That's personal. They made dua in general for all the believers on earth, no matter who they are, no matter where they are, no matter what. You understand the difference? Do you understand the difference? If you don't, I can't help you. The religion is easy, but we have to have common sense. If you can't understand the difference between a personal supplication and a general supplication, I can't help you, sweetheart. You understand? Do you understand? You want people to pray for you, Amina, because you want a husband. Make your own dua. Those Palestinians ain't asking nobody to do nothing for them. We're choosing to pray for all Muslims on earth. That's different. Those people in Palestine ain't asking you for anything. That's the difference. You're begging because you don't have a relationship with Allah. Get your own relationship with Allah. Exactly. I can't help you if you don't understand the difference. I can't break it down no simpler than that. Okay, let's go on to the next question. What about this? The example of the believers and their affection, mercy, and compassion for each other is like that of a body. When one body aches, one limb aches, the whole body feels it. Who can explain what this means? Break down, give us the meaning of this this hadith. Give us the meaning.
When one body hurts or body part hurts, it affects all of us. Meaning not so much physically or but emotionally and spiritually or whatever is happening to that person in another country or just down the street.
Right.
They're in pain. Well, I'm feeling that pain.
Exactly. That's the empathy. That's the empathy. When one Muslim hurts, it affects us all. When you see another Muslim, this is why, Sister Amina, those people ain't asking nobody to pray for them. They ain't got to. The true believer will pray for you on their own because it affects them. But you don't see those people running around doing like y'all do, begging people to make dua, for them because I can't deal with my problems. Go deal with your problems and get your own relationship with Allah. Okay? When one Muslim hurts, it affects us all. So we always make dua for all the Muslims on earth. But every Muslim on earth should have their own ibadah with Allah, where you can go to Allah and say, Allah, my daughter ran away from home. Can you help me? You don't come to me and say, Layla, can you make dua because my daughter ran away from home? Make your own dua. Do you see the difference, Amina? I hope you do. If you don't, I can't make it no more clear. Okay, what about this, guys? The prophet said, none of you will be a true believer until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. Amina Fresno, what does this mean? Fresno, give the meaning of this hadith. Fresno.
Love for your brother what you love for yourself, meaning I want, how can I say it? What I want for me, I want for you.
Like what?
Like if I don't want to see nothing bad happen to you, because I don't want nothing bad to happen to me. I want to see good for you because I want good for me. Okay. I want for you what I want for me.
But that don't mean because you want a new car, you're going to you got to go buy a new car for somebody else. That what that mean?
Nope.
Okay, good. That's why I wanted to make sure y'all understand that. A lot of Muslims take these hadiths and twist them around and play games. That's why Allah is sending war, because he's sick of it. He's sick of the hypocrites. Okay, this means you want the same reaction for yourself that you'd want for someone else. You want other people to be kind, good, courteous to you. Like she said, you want good things to happen to you. So you should want good things to happen to your brothers and sisters in Islam. Okay, this doesn't mean because I want a new house, I got to give you money so you can go buy you a new house. No, it don't mean none of that. Don't get that twisted. Good job, Amina. What about this? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever loves for the sake of Allah and hates for the sake of Allah, gives for the sake of Allah, withholds for the sake of Allah, has perfected his faith. Who can give us the meaning of that hadith? What does that hadith mean?
It means not to do it to please others, but to please Allah.
Good job. Good job, baby. Exactly. Everything we do, it should be for the sake of Allah, not for personal gain. Okay? I hate you, not on a personal level. Okay? I don't hate Israel on a personal level. I don't know nothing about it, the country. In fact, I would like to visit that country one day. But I hate the fact that Israel is transgressing the limits of Allah. That Israel is provoking the rest of the world to sympathize with them to the point of other people losing their lives. So I hate you for the sake of Allah, Israel, but it's not personal. I don't hate all Jews. I don't blow up buildings. I don't go around killing people or none of that crazy stuff. I just don't like your politics. I don't like your politics, Israel. So it's not personal. It's business. Everything we do is for the sake of Allah, not personal. I'm giving you money. Why am I sitting here teaching? I'm sitting here teaching this class. Okay? Why am I doing this? I'm sure not getting paid for it. Y'all know that. And I'm definitely not famous. I ain't no famous scholar. You don't see no 2.50 million people here listening to me. In fact, they don't even mention my name. Okay? But so why am I doing it? It ain't for fame. It ain't for money. It ain't for glory. I'm doing it for Allah because it's something that Allah loves. Allah loves the fact that I took advantage of this photographic memory he gave me and memorized all those hadiths with meaning. And alhamdulillah, I had the good teachers, some of the best scholars, all of them who are dead now, except for Sheikh Morsi, to teach me the true meaning of those hadiths, where I can sit here and present it to you. I'm doing this because I know this is what Allah loves, to break it down in plain English so y'all can understand, and put the understanding of the companions in there and the examples of them in there. I'm doing it for Allah because I know that in turn, it'll be a barakah for me when I'm dead, when I'm in my grave. So everything we do, it should be for his sake. Everything we give should be for his sake. Everything we withhold should be for his sake, nothing personal. And that's the problem with us Muslims. We got to set that personal stuff aside. We have to live for Allah, die for Allah, live for Allah, die for Allah. Everything is for you, my Lord. All right. So, alhamdulillah, you guys did pretty good on this quiz.